All right, 25th Sunday Ordinary Time. We have an awesome parable this week. We get the owner who invites his laborers at different hours of the day. But the whole irony in this story is that he pays the last hired laborer the same amount as the very first. And so when you initially read or hear this story, you might hear, yeah, if I was the first hired laborer, I would get envious of the last guy who got the same amount as me. Now, why would God allow for that kind of generosity? And that's it, right? The key word is his generosity, because the first laborer got paid the same amount. And this amount that he was paid was his fair share. Now, what's important about this parable? What's important is to recognize the temptation for the bare minimum. In other words, a certain laziness and a selfishness. The person who fails or falls into a trap of envy fails to recognize the incredible power of generosity. And that's what we're reminded of in today's gospel, is to be generous. You see, in God's work, in this work, we are participating in this mission of the plan of salvation. And the very fact that Jesus invites us to spend time with him, there should be no value, no amount that we can earn at the end of the day that is more valuable than this time, right? Because in the end, what is heaven? Heaven is time with Jesus, is gazing, is glorifying in the Father, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, being united with them. And we get to work in his vineyard right now and to know his love. For those who didn't know him till way later, they missed out on all those extra hours that we get to spend with him and to learn from him. See, those details aren't mentioned in the parable, but if you think about it, wow, what a privilege to work alongside the Master and to learn all the intricacies which lead to his generosity, to see in what ways we fall short, especially with those temptations of comparing, but to recognize instead how to give of ourselves as a true servant, knowing that when we're serving the Master of love, that we are being paid in ways that multiply in ways we don't know. And how awesome is it, right? So imagine this vineyard, the harvest, the fruits, and at the end of the day, when we're collecting our wage, when we're collecting our ticket to heaven, when we get to heaven and we see all the fruits of our labor that we couldn't see when we were working, that in and of itself is the greatest joy, because you just brought all these other souls with you to heaven. Their souls are saved. I mean, it's heaven or hell. It's God or no God. And it's scary to imagine life forever without God, without an all-loving, tremendous loving being. So in that sense, I pity those who are idle, who do not know God, and what a privilege it is to be invited to serve and to continue to do his work. So in the end, it's not about the value of the wage, and it's not about who came first or who came last. Just the very fact that we were invited, thanks be to God. So let us do our fair share to try and bring all those who are idle, who have yet to know the owner of the vineyard, so that they too can have a taste of the kingdom of heaven, so that they too can be invited and that they can spread this work on and on and on, that we can transform the world to know of God's kingdom. And so, et nunc cepi, now we begin. Until next time, work hard. All right.